Welcome back, everyone. Ever feel like, stuck? Like you're just getting tossed around by life?
Buffeted by forces outside your control.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're diving deep into today.
Oh.
The surprisingly common victim mentality.
We'll unpack what it really looks like, where it comes from. But most importantly,
How to escape.
yes, become the captain of your own ship. And we're talking actionable steps here, not just vague psychology stuff.
I like that, grabbing the wheel. So victim mentality, it's more than just like having a bad day, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a pattern of thinking, deeply ingrained, where a person consistently sees themselves as powerless. They blame everything but themselves, other people, bad luck, the universe.
It's always something outside of them.
Yes, it becomes an addiction almost, blaming external factors for their unhappiness, lack of success.
So they don't have to look inward.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting because this external blame game, it lets them avoid taking responsibility for their own choices.
Our research on this really highlighted that point. It's not just about feeling like a victim in a single moment. It's bigger. It's a whole lens for seeing the world.
I love that, a lens. It's like those glasses that only let you see everyone else's flaws, never your own.
Okay, wow. That makes a lot of sense. So how do we even spot this in ourselves? What are the signs that we might be stuck?
Well, the most obvious. Constantly blaming others. Look, we all do it sometimes. It's human.
Right, you spill your coffee, stupid table.
Haha, exactly. But when it's your default mode, red flag.
It's like that saying, point a finger, three point back at you.
Yes. And that blame game often protects our ego. If it's not our fault, we don't have to change
We can just stay the same.
and avoid the hard work of personal growth.
Wow, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's a good point. So what's another sign?
Chronic complaining. Again, we all need to vent sometimes, healthy. But if it's constant, always about what's wrong, it's a sign.
That they don't feel empowered to actually change it.
Right. And let's be honest, sometimes there's a weird comfort in that misery.
Oh yeah, misery loves company.
For sure. And it can even get you attention and sympathy, which, let's face it, can feel good.
Also, it's almost rewarding to stay stuck.
In a way, yeah. Which leads us to the third and maybe sneakiest sign of this victim mentality. What one source called the moral high ground stance.
Ooh, that sounds tricky. Like it's disguised as something positive.
Exactly. It's that belief that you're inherently good, so you deserve better than what you're getting,
Which then means anyone who disagrees,
is automatically the bad guy. It lets you off the hook for your own behavior.
instead of taking responsibility, you create this whole narrative. Right.
Exactly. A defense mechanism to protect that ego while justifying inaction.
So it's like you're trapped in this fortress of blame, but it's also a prison. You're the one keeping yourself stuck there.
That's such a good way to put it. And that's why just telling someone, stop playing the victim, rarely works. Because on some level, it is working for them.
What? How? How is feeling powerless and resentful rewarding?
Well, think about it. You get attention, sympathy. When you're hurting, that validation feels good, even if it's just a temporary fix.
Right, it soothes the ego in the moment.
Yeah. But there's a deeper payoff, too. Avoiding responsibility. Because, let's be real, facing our own flaws, admitting mistakes, it's tough.
So much easier to just point the finger outward.
Way easier. It's like, if it's not my fault, I don't have to do anything. But there's that catch, right?
Avoiding responsibility keeps you stuck.
Exactly. You're giving away your power to change.
Because as long as you're the victim,
The story can't move forward. It reminds me of that quote by Viktor Frankl. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
wow. Okay, so how do we choose differently? How do we actually break free from this? Our research talked about making three big shifts: the character shift, the time shift, and the focus shift.
I love that framework. It's not about pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows. It's about recognizing when you've slipped into this victim role and then making a conscious choice to show up differently.
To become the captain of your ship.
Yes. So that character shift, right? Instead of asking, why me, which keeps you passive, you ask, what can I do about this?
Oh, interesting. Just changing the question.
Changes everything. Because even when things feel totally out of our control, there's always something we can control.
Our actions, our reactions.
Our choices moving forward. We reclaim our agency that way.
Okay, so that's the character shift. From why me to what can I do? What about this time shift?
This is huge. Because dwelling on the past, replaying all the hurts, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, It keeps you glued to that victim identity.
You're mentally living back there.
Stuck. And again, it's not about denying the past. You acknowledge it, you learn from it.
But then you make the choice to bring your energy to the present moment.
Yes, because the present is the only place we have power to actually change anything.
It's like, you're so busy driving that rearview mirror, you can't see what's coming next.
Exactly. Time to ditch that old, beat-up victim story and start a new one. One where you're in control. Which brings us to that third shift. Focus.
Okay, so we've shifted our character. We're here in the now. Where's our focus going?
It's about breaking free from, obsessing over what's right or wrong, fair or unfair. Instead, we're laser-focused on our goals, our values.
So instead of getting bogged down in blame, we're saying, okay, this is where I'm at, now what?
Yes. What do I want to create, and what are the actual steps I can take to get there? It's about becoming the architect of your life.
Not just letting life happen to you.
Right. You acknowledge, hey, I can't control everything,
Stuff's gonna happen.
but you control how you respond. And every choice you make from this point on, that's power.
I love that. We're taking back our stories. Instead of that sailboat being tossed around, we grab the wheel and chart a new course. Yeah.
Exactly. And look, this isn't about being happy all the time or pretending life is easy. It's about facing those challenges with agency, knowing you have influence, even in small ways.
Because those small steps add up over time, right?
Huge transformations happen that way. And remember, it's a journey. There will be setbacks, times when that victim voice pops up again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The key is you notice it without judgment, and you gently guide yourself back.
Back to that place of power. So for everyone listening, ready to make that shift, what's one thing they can start doing, today?
Next time you feel that victim pull the blame, the frustration, the poor me, hit pause. Before you react, ask yourself, what's one tiny action I can take right now to move towards what I actually want?
Because even a tiny step is still progress.
Exactly. You're not waiting for rescue. You're not arguing with reality. You're taking ownership. That's where real change begins.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much. So as we wrap up here, what's one last takeaway for our listeners?
This. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your life. And you have the power to choose a different story. Starting today.
Amazing. You heard it here first, folks. Time to grab those blueprints because you are capable of building something incredible. Until next time, keep diving deeper.